It's done.
Connor McDavid! It's not real!
The goal of the year?
Panarin!
Part of the past. The celebrations? Forgotten. The history?
Vegas Golden Knights!
History. We're back to a blank slate. Clean ice. All that matters now is what happens next. The Stanley Cup playoffs.
Eastern Conference Final begins Wednesday.
You are listening to Women's Running Stories, the podcast where exceptional women runners share inspirational stories about their running experiences.
It was years of, discomfort and then in denial about everything. And then also thinking there's no way this doesn't hurt one day. It was really, really painful. I couldn't go a single second without discomfort, even just sitting, standing, whatever. So the idea of no pain whatsoever, if you just do this and take 6 months off, was kind of unfathomable to me. I just didn't think that was ever going to happen. But I had a really good support system, like my family, my boyfriend, my friends, my coaches, and they guaranteed you're going to be fine. You need to just get healthy. And so I trusted that, and they were right. So I'm really glad I did it. Yeah, so my name is Rachel McArthur. I'm a track and field athlete, and I'm currently training in Blacksburg, Virginia, which is Southern Virginia. And I'm from Virginia, so it's nice to be back in the area training.
Yes, this episode features emerging professional runner Rachel McArthur. And this is a race report focused on the 2024 USATF 1 Mile National Championships, which took place on Tuesday, April 23rd in Des Moines, Iowa. But to fully grasp how exciting Rachel's performance was there, we do need to go back to the years-long journey of a painful injury and Rachel's path to health. But before we hear more from Rachel, I want to welcome you to Women's Running Stories. I am Cherie Louise Turner. I am the host and producer of this podcast. Thank you so much for being here. And you are in for a treat because Rachel's story is excellent. So let's just get to it. First of all, this is a race report. I do these race reports for every single one of the USATF Road Circuit series of races. And this is a series of races that happen all over the country, all throughout the year. Each race is a different distance, and each race serves as a national championship event for the distance or type of race that is being run. In addition to racers going after a national championship, there is also money on the line, and there are points. And the points go toward the series overall, which is decided at the end of the year. In each one of these race report episodes, one top 10 finisher tells the story of how the race went down from her perspective. And because a race is never only about what happens on race day, these reports include context around what was happening leading up to the event at hand. And in Rachel's case in particular, the story behind the long road to the starting line of the 1 Mile Championships makes her performance all that much more terrific. For a bit of background on Rachel McArthur, she was an exceptional high school runner and she graduated in 2017. The very next year, in 2018, she won the USATF Under 20 National Championship title in the 1,500-meter event. Rachel did have a strong collegiate career. She raced first for Villanova, and then she transferred to the powerhouse team at the University of Colorado. And while she did perform well, Rachel raced injured for the majority of her time in the collegiate system, and that continued after she transitioned into the pro ranks. This is all to say that Rachel McArthur has not raced injury-free for most of her adult racing career, and not at all during any time as a professional until now. The 1 Mile Champs was the first really competitive event that Rachel has lined up for healthy as a professional runner. And it is only the third race she has done since becoming healthy. How and why this all unfolded the way it did, from the process of managing this injury all the way up to the finish line of the 1 Mile National Championships, is what this story is all about. A few details before Rachel tells her story. Rachel is currently a member of Team SOVA. It is a professional track group that is based in Virginia, and she is the only woman in the group. And when she's not training with the men of SOVA, she is training with the women's team at Virginia Tech. SOVA also includes Rachel's boyfriend, professional runner Cooper Tier, who you'll hear her mention. And I also want to thank Cooper myself for connecting me with Rachel. I had the pleasure of meeting Cooper shortly after his big victory at the BAA 5K, which was in Boston just before the Boston Marathon. And when he heard about the podcast, he quickly said, "Hey, my girlfriend is a pro runner too, and she's got a great story." And he was right. So thank you, Cooper. In her story, Rachel also mentions Anna Camp-Bennett, who is a top professional track racer as well. And just for a little clarity on distances, Rachel's primary focus is the 1,500-meter race on the track, and that distance is just under 1 mile. And in fact, just a few days before the 1-mile champs, Rachel lined up for a meet at Wake Forest University in North Carolina, where she did race the 1,500. And she's going to talk about that event in her story. Also to note is that the 1-mile National Road Championships was Rachel's first time ever racing a road event. So this is indeed a lot of firsts for Rachel. All right, well, let's get to it. Let's hear this race report from Rachel McArthur about the 1-mile National Championships. And to do that, we are going back to the beginning of Rachel dealing with this injury that has played such an influential role in her running life. Here to tell her story is Rachel McArthur.
Yeah, so there wasn't a set moment where I injured myself. I would say my junior year of college, I had 5 years in college. So the last 3 years of my college career, I had this discomfort, and it was in my heel. I should clarify. I had Haglund's surgery. So that's a bone spur on your heel. I started feeling it my junior year. I kind of immediately had an inkling of what it was because it's a pretty common occurrence in runners. My senior year was pretty bad. My 5th year was pretty bad. It was progressively getting worse. Obviously, I was running on it. And that was a decision made by both me and kind of my coaches, my trainers at Colorado. And we just decided, these are my last couple of years in college, so I might as well get everything I can out of it. So I got a few injections my last year just so I could keep competing. I wasn't training a whole lot. So you can imagine how confident I felt. Racing was not great. I was just really anxious all the time, really not enjoying the sport. I would say I was, doing the best I could. And so looking back on what I accomplished in college those last years, I'm not disappointed in myself. I think I did what I could considering the pain I was in. But graduating from college and transitioning into a pro career is hard as it is, nearly impossible when you're injured. And so I think I was very in denial about kind of how extreme my injury was. I did not want surgery. I thought that's going to sideline me for a long time. I just need to race well, secure a contract of some sort. So financially, obviously I can keep pursuing this, which was a terrible decision, but it's okay. It happened. I learned from it. I think at the time this is what I'm used to doing. It's really hard to take a step back from something that is routine and that you've always done. So I just didn't know any other option or know anything else to do. I just thought I need to keep running and it'll work itself out. And my whole identity was kind of built around running. I say was because I don't think that anymore now that I've had these years to kind of grow as a person. And so I didn't know what else to do. I just thought I have to keep doing this. Everyone I'm surrounded with is also a runner for the most part. Granted, not my family, but those I hang out with day to day are all runners. And so I wanted to just be a part of the community. I felt, left out. And in college, I wanted to run with my friends. I wanted to be with people. And if I wasn't in the sport, I wasn't doing anything. And so that was kind of my driving force, was just get back to being with people I want to be with and feel like I have a sense of worth because I'm running. And yeah, I was again pretty naive and just looking past the fact that I was ruining my foot by continuing. But yeah, I just didn't want to to be left out, honestly. So I kept running. Kind of a year and a half roughly, I was still competing, but I really wasn't training. I was just limping through everything. I remember I ran pen relays, which do not look at those results. It was terrible, but my roommate was Anna Camp Bennett. And I remember cooling down with her, trying to after the race. I was in so much discomfort. I was in so much pain, but I really just wanted to be in that community of like, oh, I'm with other runners now. And, this is my pro career. And so I ran with her a little bit, and she was super helpful and just telling me like, get healthy, and I just wanted to ignore all that advice. I didn't want to get surgery. I didn't want to stop running, as uncomfortable as it was. But it wasn't until a few months later in the summer, I stopped running, and mostly because I physically couldn't. And I called my college coach because I was also at a loss of what I was even doing. I was living at home. I moved to Eugene. I was kind of all over the place. And she said, you should get surgery. You should not keep doing this, because realistically, getting a contract and then taking a rest is not going to happen. That just was brutal. It wasn't going to happen. And so it was a pretty hard pill to swallow, recognizing that I needed surgery, primarily because it meant guaranteed time off, whereas running through my injury meant I just run a little bit easier, but I can still keep running. So I think it was just a lot of a mental battle. And once I established I'm going to take this time off fully and prepare myself and just know that this is going to get better, it got a little bit easier. I got really, really excited for surgery, which I had at the beginning of August, this last August. I was so distraught and upset for so long because of discomfort and pain and whatever. I was just so happy to be finding a solution and fully trusting that this is going to help. There were times where I just wanted to, and this is going to sound so sappy, but I just wanted to cry out of excitement. So it was a little brutal, right after the surgery. I couldn't really feel too much, honestly. But the days following were pretty uncomfortable. But honestly, when I look back at it, I think this was like the most fun week of my life, because my family, my mom and stepdad, they flew out to Denver with me where I had the surgery. We all met up. We had a great time. I was just, in a wheelchair for a few days getting iced coffees. Like, it was great. I really took that time to just not think about running, not think about anything. Just thought about, as a person, I'm in pain and I just had this surgery to help me, and I'm not going to be anymore. And now I can just focus on being healthy as an individual. And so it was honestly awesome. I mean, despite the discomfort from where I had an incision into my foot, it was a lot of fun. I was so excited. So I had one of the surgeries. There are two with Haglund's deformities. There's where your Achilles is pretty destroyed and so maybe needs to be reattached. I had the other surgery, which was take out the bursa, clean up the area, shave down the bone, all of those good things, which is a little bit less extreme. So the recovery coming back to running, they told me, could be 3 months, could be 5 months, kind of depends on how urgent you are. And from the beginning, I sort of established, oh, it's urgent. I need to get back immediately. But then I quickly just thought, no, I don't. Truly, what is my rush? Obviously, this year is an Olympic year, so I do want to be in the trials. But in the moment, I did not think about that. I just thought about, I've been so distraught, so invested in my running career for so long. I think I just need to stop for a bit and take the recovery as slowly as I want. And so I really took my time with things. I wasn't actively thinking every day, like, oh, let me go get on the bike and spin. Let me go get in the pool. I didn't think that for at least a couple of weeks. I just enjoyed the time off because I had never truly taken the time off to just recover. But once I started getting back into it, I also made it more of a journey of celebrating all the little things I started to be able to do. Like I put weight on my foot for the first time, and I had the boot on, granted, but it was so strange and so uncomfortable. But we would celebrate, like, okay, I walked across the room with my boot on, and that's awesome. So it went from that a few weeks later to no boot on, or just maybe like a smaller one. And again, this process took probably 2 months total of getting back to like fully walking normally. I remember my boyfriend Cooper and I, we would go to the pool, waist deep water, and we would walk. And it was really pathetic to watch, but I would walk across the pool and then I would try to do calf raises in the pool, just get some weight off. The calf raises were impossible to do for a super long time. But yeah, it took me a couple months, I would say, to get back to fully functioning foot. But I enjoyed that time. It was fun, just kind of relearning. I acted like, as baby deer learning to walk. And I had fun with that. So I would say I started running, December, January, roughly. So again, kind of the longer side of things. I think the biggest thing has been rebuilding that calf strength. It's funny because I also took some photos of my calf following the surgery when I could have the boot off. And it was like the size of my arm. It was really, really small. I mean, I couldn't even do a calf raise. It was just absurd. And so I've written down things like today I did one calf raise and, an ISO hold. I could hold it for 10 seconds and that's a big win. And now I'm like, able to do box jumps and whatever. So I write all that down just to see the progression. But so I did a lot of calf strengthening. I actually avoid Achilles stretches at all times. I still do. I prefer like ISO holds, eccentrics, that sort of thing. Weighted calf raises, mostly just calf overload. And then I really like to use like a TENS machine, kind of like a muscle stem machine. I put that on my foot quite a bit, and that seems to help a lot. And a lot of times I also just, massage the area. There's a lot of scar tissue built up in my heel, or there was at least. So just kind of manually working on that has helped a lot. But honestly, the biggest thing has just been trying to be normal when I run, trying to really just get back to focusing on my run, focusing on my form, and not focusing on overcompensating or anything like that. So sometimes just overlooking if there's any little discomfort, which I haven't had too much of, but if there is, just push through it for the time being, because I know that it's just, flaring up and it'll go away. And that's been the case consistently. So yeah, just trying to focus on normal running for the most part. I'd say into February, maybe early March, it would still ache, but I was doing a lot of rehab and I was doing a lot of treatment on it. And I did not think it was just going to go away ever. So I kind of was okay with that. I just thought, well, I'm not hurting myself further. It's just, uncomfortable. But I probably wrote this down in my running log, like when it didn't hurt for the first time. And I can think now it doesn't hurt at all. So the way I feel is it's just so weird. It's so weird to think about that, a year ago this time I was in crippling pain. I couldn't even stand. And now I can go for a 10-mile run and it doesn't hurt in the least bit. It's just strange. It's very strange, but it makes me really, really happy when I think back on when I started running again. And it just felt like I could focus on the run and not the pain. Or my first workout back, I was super, super excited because I was hurting really bad in other areas. And that was a new feeling for me, since for so long I had been hindered by my foot so that I could never even reach the point where I was pushing myself in other areas. So yeah, it's a good feeling to not think about pain every step you take. So my entire goal this year was line up healthy for the first time. And if I can do that, I'll already feel accomplished in whatever I'm doing. So I think with that mindset on the line, I knew that whatever happens was going to happen, and I ran a 1500 the week prior to the road mile, which was a Tuesday. So I ran actually like 4 days earlier or something. And I ran a big PB in the 15. It was my first race in a really, really long time. So I think my PR, which I should know this actually, I think it was 4:13, which I had run, I want to say my sophomore year of college. So quite some time ago. I mean, I'm 2 years out of college, so it was long ago. It was about that time, so 4:13, and then I ran on that Friday before the road mile. I ran a 4:07, just kind of out of the blue at Wake Forest. There was a meet there, so I ran 4:07 pretty comfortably, and for me that was really validating. But I was just happy to be there because I can say racing last year and the times where I was injured, you line up when you're unprepared and you feel anxious, obviously. I felt not happy to be there. I mean, I hadn't enjoyed running in so long that I was kind of thinking, what am I even doing this for? It's not really for me at this point. Whereas this year lining up, I didn't feel anxious. I did feel nervous, of course, in my first race back, but I was mostly just excited because I was healthy. I am healthy. I had been training for a few months consistently, and I hadn't been able to test that yet. Again, my goal was just line up healthy. And if you can do that, then already you're in a really good spot. So I knew that whatever was going to happen, I was going to be happy because I accomplished this feat that I had been wanting to accomplish for so long. So I was nervous, of course. I mean, nerves and excitement come from the same place. So I felt both of those things. And when I started running the actual race, I just remember I felt awesome. Like I was just having so much fun. I was just so happy thinking, gosh, this is the first time I'm running. And I didn't even look at the clock, to be honest. I think there was a pacer in the race, but I think I moved past her with like a bit over 600 to go, maybe, because it was being paced to like, I want to say like 4:15. So I didn't really know what number was on the clock. I just thought, I'm having fun. What do I have to lose? I'm here, I'm doing it. So I kind of just went with it. And, I was happy that I was just running and having fun. And the results came from that. And so it felt better than moving forward to my next events, knowing I know what I can do on a day that I don't even feel my greatest. Like I felt okay that day. I actually had a pretty bad stomach ache, to be honest. Like it wasn't even my greatest day. But moving forward, saying like, okay, I know what I can run on a day that's not my best. Let's just see what I can do on a day that's great. And I'm still waiting for my greatest day ever. So yeah, it's been nice lining up and being excited to showcase my training. Yeah, cutting off quite some time on my 1500 just made me feel a lot more comfortable going into the next races, just knowing, okay, I'm actually meant to be in this field and I have a good PR now. So yeah, it was quite confidence building, I'd say. So I think because of that, I was a little bit less nervous going into the road mile. I kind of just felt validated that I've run this time. So obviously I'm fast right now. So while it's a new realm of road racing, I think I'm in a good spot. So I wasn't super nervous for the road mile. I think that just speaks to when you feel prepared, you don't feel that anxiety as much as you do when you're unprepared, obviously. So I was really excited to try something new. There was really no pressure on me because it was a new event for me. Well, road mile, new terrain, just all new. So I was really excited. And all the women who were there were really, really nice. And they had done it before for the most part. So they really calmed me down, just saying, it's really just fun. You're going to go out there and have a really fun time. And so I was just excited. I was excited to try it and see what the hype was all about. So my entire plan was honestly based off some of the women. I was just going to follow them. But immediately off the bat, it was pretty windy. And I think they had the same mindset because I'm tall. They thought we'll follow her. So it wasn't entirely to plan from the start. But I mean, I could see everyone the whole time. And I believe somebody kind of sent it with 800 to go. But some of the other women I knew and had seen race in the past, they didn't go. So it was very much so I was just gauging off what they were doing because they have more experience and I respected them for that. So when no one else went, I kind of said, okay, I won't either. My thoughts were just follow everyone else, run with them, and then see what you can do come the end of the race. So that's not at all how I approach a 1500 usually. I'm more aware of the clock the entire time. And to be honest, I didn't think at all of the pace. It was kind of more just about competing. But yeah, on the road, I was actually planning to see the last marker of 400 meters to go. And I thought, okay, I'll feel comfortable right after that, kicking and just kind of giving it my all. And then I actually never saw that. So I didn't really have that marker. Instead, I just thought, okay, the finish looks a little closer than I thought. So now is probably the time to go.
Who you got? Here they come. Here's your race to the finish. Rachel McArthur.
And some people gave me like kudos for timing it perfectly, but I actually didn't time it in the least bit. I just got a little confused. So maybe it was for the best that there wasn't, a clock right in your face, although there kind of was on the back of the cart, but there wasn't every 400 meters, the time and how many laps you have left or whatever. So yeah, it was a fun experience.
A fun experience, absolutely. Rachel McArthur won with a decisive kick to the line in her first big race as a healthy professional runner. Rachel had earned her first senior national championship title, but being a newcomer to road racing and not having a full understanding of the USATF Road Circuit Series, this national title was news to Rachel.
I was pretty naive and did not realize fully that it was a US event. I was thinking, I don't know why they're handing me a flag. So it was really cool. I mean, it was really fun when they handed it to me. And then I kind of remembered, oh gosh, like this is kind of a bigger meet than I thought. So it was really fun. I mean, I think the most fun part was bringing back my medal and getting to show my boyfriend because he already has some and having my own now. So I was really excited to just kind of have that under my belt, like a nice accolade to add on. I think the biggest thing that has made an impact on where I'm at is just my environment. I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. I'm happy with where I live, with who I'm around. And I really think that mentally I'm in such a better place right now that when I line up to run, I know it's just I'm having fun out there and I'm doing this because it's fun and not because my career depends on it. And so, it's been really fun for me to see where I'm at this early. I ran 4.7 last month and then, a week later 4.08, which would have been 2 PRs for the last 5 years. So it's very interesting. I'm not doing anything crazy, to be honest. Our training is very unique and very different. But I run half of what I ran at Colorado. I ran a little bit more than what I ran at Villanova, where I went for 2 years. So physically, I don't think I'm doing anything crazy. I'm just being consistent with the efforts. I'm in a really good routine. I've been in this routine for months. Again, I'm healthy. I'm with people every day who are doing the same things, and it's repetitive and it's mundane sometimes, but it's been enjoyable. I really like doing that stuff. And we've all been so antsy to just get on the track and run fast and then, share that joy with one another, my teammates I'm referring to. And our coach is really good at kind of holding us back and saying, wait till later, the fun stuff will come. And so yeah, again, it's not been anything crazy. It's just a completely different lifestyle now. And I think I have 2 key things going for me right now, which is the first time this has ever been in my life, which is that I'm healthy and I'm enjoying the sport. And I think both of those things together, are really, really impactful. Plus coupled with I'm working hard. So I've never had, I guess maybe that's 3 things. I've never had all of those 3 things going for me. And I think that should I have had those 3 things going for me throughout college, I would have ended college very differently. But yeah, I kind of feel like a brand new runner starting over. So it's been good. I'm excited to see where I can go from here.
I am also excited to see where Rachel McArthur goes from here because no doubt she is ready to keep throwing down. Wow, her first big race back and she won a national championship. So big congratulations, Rachel. And Rachel kept that momentum going. Shortly after the 1 mile championships, she finished a really strong second place at the prestigious Drake Relays meet in the 1500. Rachel came in just behind her friend Anna Camp Bennett, who had come in second to Rachel at the 1 mile champs. And this does bring us to the end of Rachel McArthur's race report story on the podcast. Please look to the show notes for a link to Rachel on social media so you can join me in keeping up with her as she launches into this new exciting phase of her running career. The next big event coming up for Rachel will be racing the 1500 at the U.S. Olympic Trials, and that is happening at the end of June. A big thank you to Rachel for coming on the podcast and sharing her story. thank you, Rachel, and I do wish you terrific racing going forward. I have no doubt we're going to see a lot more exciting racing from you. And also be sure to tune in for the next race report, which will cover the 25K National Championships that just took place on May 11th in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That will be coming up really soon, so be sure to subscribe to the podcast now so that you do not miss the upcoming race reports or any of the other great stories that are coming up. All right, well, that is going to do it for me for this episode. I am Cherie Louise Turner. I am the host and producer of Women's Running Stories. And until next Friday, I do wish you healthy, joyful strides forward. Women's running. Women's running stories.
My name is Cindy Burnett, and each week I interview at least 2 traditionally published authors on my podcast, Thoughts from a Page. We talk spoiler-free about their books, so you can listen whether you have read the book or not. And then we delve into things that you most likely won't hear about anywhere else. The importance of the cover design, why they included various aspects of the story, personal details about both the books and the authors' lives, and so much more. You can find the podcast on every major platform and learn more about it on my website, thoughtsfromapage.com. Thanks so much for checking it out.